Donald Trump, as we've been covering, is currently experiencing a civil fraud trial for fraudulent business practices and has been in between, or when he leaves, comes into the courtroom, been ranting to reporters about how unfair he feels the whole process is. And we debunked his claim that he's being wronged by not having a jury previously. Now I have the latest example of him making up a story that's not accurate about his own victimhood. But as a reminder, here's the jury rant.
This trial is a total witch hunt, and I should be entitled to a jury like everybody else is entitled to a jury.
And then we looked into it and found out, oh, his lawyers didn't opt for a jury. So if he wants to blame someone, turn around and talk to Alina Abba, who didn't opt for that option. Now you have this.
I'm here, stuck here, and I can't campaign. I'd rather be right now in Iowa. I'd rather be in New Hampshire, or South Carolina, or Ohio, or a lot of other places, but I'm stuck here because I have a corrupt attorney general, and the judge already knows what he's going to do. He's a Democrat judge. In all fairness to him, he has no choice. He has no choice. He's run by the Democrats.
Joining us now from outside of the courthouse is MSNBC anchor Lindsay Reiser. So, Lindsay, get us up.
Okay, so before this is fact-checked by this MSNBC correspondent, just like how we talked about with the jury, some of these points on their face, you understand why some people might feel compelled by them. Oh, why isn't he getting a jury? This trial, shouldn't he have a jury? And then you find out, oh, his lawyers didn't check that box. And then here, gosh, he's being taken away from his campaigning, which why should the law bend around Trump's campaign schedule? That doesn't make much sense. But some people might think, yeah, that's going to make it harder for him to campaign. Well, then you have this.
To speed.
Yeah, the former president very agitated there. You see that as opposed to yesterday when he seemed to be in better spirits. But the former president, we should mention, is not compelled to be here. And he has left, Katie, for the day. He's already wheels up back to Florida. But he didn't have to be here, not until he's called to testify, which hasn't happened yet. The former president has called, as you just heard, Attorney General James corrupt. He's called her a...
So he's not required to be there. So he's pretending like he's being so wronged because he has to be at the court when he could be doing other things. He's choosing to be at the court. Now, whenever he has to testify, then he'll have to be there. Again, rightfully so. Him being held legally accountable shouldn't be subject to his campaign schedule. Political figures shouldn't be treated differently by the law than other people. Excuse me. But even so, in this moment, he doesn't have to be there. So he's making that up as well. Then you have Letitia James, the Attorney General, bringing this case against Donald Trump, of course, AG of New York, responding to Trump leaving, saying this.
Were offensive. They were baseless. They were void of any facts and or any evidence. What they were comments that unfortunately fomented violence, and comments that I would describe as race baiting, and comments, unfortunately, that appeals to the bottom of our humanity. I will not be bullied. And so Mr. Trump is no longer here. The Donald Trump show is over.
Things got very fiery.
The Donald Trump show is over. She will not be bullied. There we go. That's exactly right. It is crazy how much Trump is perceived by his followers and how much he perceives himself as the biggest victim ever. And I really do wish, I'll continue to say, that people who currently support him could just wake up to the fact that maybe all these different examples of him experiencing legal troubles, whether it be prosecutions or this civil trial, maybe all of those things are happening in all these different jurisdictions because Trump did a lot of things that were wrong. You have to believe a lot of things. You have to assume a lot of things that you don't necessarily have evidence for to believe that all of these different prosecutions and, again, this lawsuit and everything Trump has building up is a coordinated effort to take him down. That is really complicated. All the coordination that would be necessary, all the corruption, and you don't have hard evidence of that. So you have to assume that those things are happening behind the scenes to think that makes sense. Or you just got to assume one thing based on a lot of evidence, so it's not really an assumption, that maybe Trump's the one acting incorrectly. And that's why in all these different places, all these different prosecutors of all different political persuasions are trying to hold Trump legally accountable. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show and get a bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.